There's something I've noticed about men over 60, something that so many of them don't even realize about themselves. Have you ever caught a glimpse of yourself in the mirror and thought, not bad for my age, only to brush it off a second later? Or maybe someone's paid you a compliment, you look great, and you just laughed it off, assuming they were just being polite? Well, what if I told you that there's a very good chance you're a lot more handsome than you think? That's right. You might be one of those older men who's aging like fine wine, gracefully, with character, with a kind of presence that turns heads without you even trying. But here's the thing. Society doesn't always celebrate older men the way it should. We're bombarded with images of youth, and it's easy to start believing that attractiveness fades after a certain age. But that's just not true. Real handsomeness isn't about flawless skin or a full head of hair. It's about confidence, charm, and the kind of charisma that only comes with experience. So today we're going to talk about why you might be a lot more attractive than you realize, and how to embrace it. Because here's the secret. When you feel handsome, you become even more handsome. It's not about vanity. It's about recognizing your worth and carrying yourself with a kind of self-assurance that makes people take notice. Now let's start with something simple but powerful, your smile. You might not think much about it, but a genuine smile is one of the most attractive things a man can have at any age. It lights up your face, makes you approachable, and here's the best part. It's contagious. Think about the older men you've admired over the years. Chances are, the ones who stood out weren't necessarily the most classically handsome, but the ones who had a warmth about them, a twinkle in their eye, a smile that made you feel at ease. And here's something else to consider: laughter lines aren't flaws. Those little wrinkles around your eyes? They're proof of a life well lived, moments of joy etched right into your face. A man who smiles easily is a man who's comfortable in his own skin, and that's incredibly attractive. Next, let's talk about posture. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Posture? Really? But hear me out. The way you carry yourself says so much about you before you even speak. Slouching can make you look tired or unsure of yourself, while standing tall, shoulders back, head up, instantly makes you look more confident, more vibrant, even younger. It's not about being stiff or rigid. It's about moving through the world with a quiet assurance. Think of it like this. When you walk into a room, do you want to fade into the background, or do you want to enter with a kind of quiet presence? Good posture doesn't just change how others see you. It changes how you feel about yourself. Try it right now. Sit up a little straighter. Roll your shoulders back. Take a deep breath. Feel that? That's the posture of a man who knows his worth. And finally, let's talk about style. Now, I'm not saying you need to go out and buy a whole new wardrobe or start dressing like a movie star. But here's the truth. When you put a little thought into how you present yourself, it sends a message to others and to yourself that you matter. It doesn't have to be fancy. A well-fitted shirt, a pair of shoes that aren't worn out, a splash of your favorite cologne. These small touches add up. The key here isn't to chase trends or dress like someone you're not. It's about finding what makes you feel good. Maybe it's a classic leather jacket that's seen a few decades but still looks sharp. Maybe it's a crisp button-down that makes you feel put together. When you take pride in your appearance, it shows, and people notice. So let's recap what we've covered so far. Your smile, your posture, and your style. 3 simple but powerful ways you might be more handsome than you realize. But here's the thing. None of it matters if you don't believe it. That's where we're going next. Because the most attractive thing any man can have at any age is confidence. And that's something worth talking about. Now let's talk about confidence. Because here's the truth. No matter how sharp your smile, how straight your posture, or how stylish your clothes, nothing shines brighter than a man who carries himself with quiet self-assurance. And guess what? You've earned that confidence. You've lived a life full of experiences, triumphs, and even setbacks, all of which have shaped you into the man you are today. That's not something to downplay. It's something to embrace. Think about the older men you've admired over the years. Maybe it was a favorite teacher, a mentor, or even a celebrity who aged with grace. What made them stand out? Chances are it wasn't just their looks. It was the way they carried themselves. They didn't apologize for their age. They owned it. And that's the key. confidence isn't about arrogance or pretending to have all the answers. It's about being comfortable in your own skin, knowing your worth, and not seeking validation from others. Here's a little exercise. The next time you walk into a room, resist the urge to shrink into the background. Stand tall, make eye contact, and greet people with warmth. You'll be amazed at how differently people respond to you. Confidence is magnetic. It draws people in without you having to say a word. Now let's talk about something that often gets overlooked but makes a world of difference: grooming. I'm not talking about spending hours in front of the mirror or trying to look decades younger. This is about taking care of yourself in a way that makes you feel polished and put together. A well-trimmed beard or a clean shave, if that's your preference. Neat nails and groomed eyebrows can take years off your appearance, not because you're trying to hide your age, but because you're presenting the best version of yourself. And let's not forget about skincare. You don't need a 10-step routine, but a simple moisturizer with SPF can keep your skin looking healthy and vibrant. Dry, neglected skin can add years to your face, while hydrated skin gives you a natural glow. It's not about vanity, it's about self-respect. When you take care of yourself, it shows. Now, here's something else that might surprise you: your voice. As we age, our voices can change, sometimes becoming softer or a bit rougher around the edges. But a strong, clear voice commands attention. If you've noticed yourself mumbling or speaking too quickly, try slowing down just a bit. Enunciate. Let your words carry weight. A man who speaks with clarity and conviction is instantly more attractive because it signals that he has something worth saying. And while we're on the topic of presence, let's talk about listening. Believe it or not, being a good listener is one of the most attractive qualities a man can have. When you truly engage with someone, making eye contact, nodding, asking thoughtful questions, you show that you value them. And that kind of emotional intelligence is rare and deeply appealing. It's not about being the loudest voice in the room. It's about being the one who makes others feel heard. So, let's tie this all together. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you cultivate. It's in the way you carry yourself, the care you take in your appearance, the strength of your voice, and the way you engage with others. These aren't tricks or shortcuts. They're reflections of the man you already are. But we're not done yet. There's one more piece to this puzzle. Something that ties everything together and elevates your natural handsomeness to a whole new level. And that's what we'll explore next. You know, there's something truly special about a man who isn't trying to be anyone but himself. Think about the older gentlemen you've met who just seem to radiate something, a kind of energy that makes you want to be near them. It's not about looks, money, or status. It's something deeper. It's authenticity. That's the secret ingredient. The X factor that takes everything we've talked about so far and turns it into real, undeniable magnetism. When you stop worrying about fitting into someone else's idea of what's attractive and just lean into being you, that's when people really start to take notice. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you let yourself enjoy being exactly who you are? Not who you were at 30 or 40, but who you are right now. Because here's the truth. The world doesn't need another carbon copy of some airbrushed magazine model. What it does need is more men like you, men with stories in their laugh lines, wisdom in their eyes, and a quiet confidence that comes from knowing exactly who they are. This is where so many guys go wrong. They either try too hard to cling to youth or fade into the background as if they become invisible. But you have the opportunity to do something remarkable, to age with intention. That means embracing your silver hair if you've got it. Women love it, by the way. It means wearing your scars, both physical and emotional, with pride because they're proof you've lived. It means understanding that your value doesn't decrease with age. It appreciates, like a rare whiskey that just gets better with time. Now let's talk about energy, not the running a marathon kind, though more power to you if that's your thing, but the kind of energy you bring into a room. There's a reason some men seem to light up every space they enter, while others barely leave a ripple. It comes down to three things. Passion. When's the last time you talked about something you genuinely love? Whether it's woodworking, jazz music, or your grandkids, that spark in your eyes when you speak is irresistible. Curiosity. The most interesting men are interested men. Ask questions. Stay engaged. The world keeps changing, and the man who keeps learning stays fascinating. Generosity of spirit. Compliment freely. Encourage others. A man secure enough to lift others up? That's peak attractiveness right there. Here's something fascinating. Research shows that people consistently rate others as more attractive when they exhibit positive emotional traits. Kindness, humor, warmth. These aren't just nice-to-haves. They're the secret sauce of lasting appeal. So let's bring this all together. Over these conversations, we've covered how your smile and posture speak volumes before you say a word. Why confidence isn't about ego, but about comfort. Laws. Notice one thing you like. Small shifts like these can change everything. Because here's what I know for certain. There are people in your life who already see you exactly as you are, handsome, capable, worthwhile, and have been waiting for you to see it too. So what do you say? Ready to step into this chapter with your head held high, knowing you've got a kind of attractiveness no 20-year-old could ever compete with? I think you are. Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear what resonated with you most. And if this conversation sparks something for you, hit that like button and subscribe. More importantly, go out there and own it. The world could use more handsome, self-assured men like you. Here's to aging not just gracefully, but powerfully. Cheers, gentlemen.